Hello guys. 17. Uh, uh, Today I'm gonna be ranking every scenario of mine that I've made from the start of the channel since before I did the little soft rebrand. So as you can see, I have this tier list here. It's ranked from double S, meaning the best of the best, the cream of the crop, my magnum opus, opuses, whatever, and all the way down to F tier, that being absolute doo-doo dog shit that should have never seen the light of day. This category, haven't seen / unavailable. I'm not going to use this because obviously I've seen every scenario that I've made. This is for like if anybody else wants to rank my scenarios, because at the end I'm going to leave the thing in the description so you can like do it yourself if you want. So to lay down ground rules that I had in mind while making motherfucker oopsie poopsie there we go. To lay down some ground rules I had while making this tier list, my ground rules were: one, the only scenarios I'm counting are scenarios that I personally qualify as a scenario. If you know, on my channel I have certain criteria for what I think constitutes a scenario, and that's anything generally between 8 to 10 minutes or longer is considered a full-length EAS scenario to me. So anything in that range, I'm including on this tier list. So that includes regular full-length scenarios, that includes long scenarios, which are an hour plus, but it doesn't include mini scenarios, which are typically shorter than 8 to 10 minutes. So those won't be included. Otherwise, this tier list would have been a lot longer. Two, something that I originally wasn't gonna add, but I figured to add, scenarios that aren't visible on my channel right now count. Like, a lot of these scenarios have been privated or taken down for various reasons, which is why for anybody else I have the haven't seen or unavailable category. But for myself, that's not gonna apply. And there are a few of the scenarios that are still up, aren't up, that I still have, something to say about. So I decided to include them on here. My third criteria is that I can't judge these scenarios solely based off like who I worked with, if they're, say, like a collab. So it has to be judged on not just like the people involved with it, but the also actual merits of the scenario. Otherwise, basically every collab I've done with MSW would immediately go into F tier, and that's a little boring. So I felt like I'd curb my hatred towards that vile Australian and, give some of our collabs a little bit of a fighting chance. And my fourth criteria: collabs are allowed. Collabs are counted, even though I don't really consider collabs I do my scenario because, well, imposter syndrome. But people voted that I should include collabs, and a lot of the people I collab with consider them my scenarios just as much as theirs. So I'm gonna include collabs. And with those collabs, especially since I'm pretty sure there's a few, get the fuck out of here, there's a few that are less than 10 to 8 minutes, which is my criteria for a scenario, but they still call them an EAS scenario. So my criteria with collabs is that if the original uploader considers it a full-length scenario, I also consider it a full-length scenario. So yeah, do we got those 4 rules out of the way? All right, cool. So starting with the actual scenarios, I got them all here listed from latest to oldest, but I'm actually not going to start with the latest because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to see, which scenarios I'd rate the highest out of my latest scenarios, which, would ruin the fun of the video. because I'm doing the best part first. So I'm actually going to start with my older scenarios, beginning with the original volcanic winter. Now, visually, this thing should go straight to F. However, I just can't bring myself to put it in F tier. Like, it sucks visually. The story's all right. And yeah, the story's all right. The visuals are ass. The composition is ass. But I had a lot of fun making it. And it's my first, well, not my first ever scenario. Technically, I've made scenarios as early as 2015. But it's my first scenario as Supernova. And I really liked the story I made for it. So much so that I gave it a remaster a year later, which is also on this list. And I feel like I shouldn't rate it too high based off nostalgia bias and based off the story I made for it alone. But at the same time, I don't just want to throw it to the wolves because, again, it does hold a special place in my heart. I don't know. Maybe I'll have more to say about it when I get around to the remaster. But for now, I'm not putting it in F tier. Let's bring this up. I'll put it in D tier. We'll put it at D tier. We'll leave it there. Civil World War Part 1, like the scenario after CWWP, which is the OG version. This actually isn't available on my channel. I privated it because it's ass. And I kind of have the same problem I have with it that I do with Volcanic Winter. The story I really like. The visuals, the composition, and the execution are hot dog shit. Except with this scenario, it doesn't really hold as special of a place in my heart because, you know, I'm not too fond of it, even though I really like the story, and also because I plan on remastering it. So no mercy for this scenario. This gets thrown straight into F tier where it belongs. Hong Kong riots gone horribly wrong. OG. Wait, hold on. I gotta think about this. Was this? I can't remember if it was this one or the remaster, but I remember in one of them, I said something really out of pocket that I'm surprised didn't get me in trouble. It was like, dude, I remember because like the sort of Axis coalition involved like fucking, I think it was like Pakistan, a few Arab countries, and obviously China. And I remember I had one of the news anchors say, like, to sort of counter the argument of the Axis powers, some really messed up shit that I don't agree with anymore. Basically, the whole news guy's argument was like, oh yeah, well, those guys' cultures suck. Those guys' cultures are weird. They have like child marriages and shit, which is really fucked. And the scenarios are dog shit. So I ended up privating both of them. So, yeah, I don't believe any of that anymore. I don't hold those beliefs at all. I'm nearly a grown ass individual. I'm thankfully woke now. I am not a bigoted piece of shit. I am not a closed-minded piece of shit. But because of that, and because the visuals are ass, this one's also going straight to F tier. Behind original CWW, because it's just it's bad. I also accidentally messed up Warden's Wrath placement. Hold on. Wait, no, I didn't. Actually, yes, I did. Okay. So yeah, going straight to F tier because the visuals are bad. The story, I like it. I feel like if I did it now, I could actually make something interesting. But the visuals are ass. The composition's ass. And I said some really fucked up shit. So we will say goodbye and good riddance to that scenario. Cyrus the Vampire Part 3, the final, I think I called it the final alert, corny ass name. I don't actually have much to say about this scenario because I don't quite remember it. The visuals, they're all right. And I do kind of like Cyrus Wolf and Vanessa Scott are kind of like those two like original characters of mine that like everybody forgets, which isn't really their fault because I haven't really done anything for them. You know, Maddie and Alexia obviously got to have, you know, their little performance in False Prophet because, you know, they're the new guys. And they're getting another appearance in Christ Illusion. Kokahama, he got to run his little theatrics in Black Flames and then again in Warden's Wrath. There's Caitlin Stacy and fuck, I forgot the VP's name. But yeah, Caitlin Stacy and the VP, who obviously are iconic for CWWP. But nobody really talks about Cyrus, and that's my own fault because one, their characterization is kind of ass. They're kind of just like one-note villains, pure evil villains, and fuck. For two, both of the scenarios, well, all four of the scenarios involving them are not deleted, but privated, so nobody can even watch them. So how do I feel about this scenario? Not very fondly. It's not that good. The plot's all right, but Cyrus as a character is kind of ass. The visuals are ass, and yeah, I just don't have much to say about it. I'll put it in D tier behind Volcanic Winter, but yeah, not much to say about that. World's Gone Beautiful. This is going straight into... It's going into... D tier, I think. Above Cyrus the Vampire, probably. The main reason this is going in D tier is because, like, the visuals, from what I remember, they're okay. Kind of bad. But it's nothing like too offensive, especially for, you know, the community at the time, because none of the visuals were really stellar at the time. We've definitely come a long way as a community since. But the reason I'm putting it so low is because of the plot. Like, I knew what World's Gone Beautiful, like SCP-001 was about, but I didn't know at the end, like 24 hours after the plans show up, everyone's supposed to die. Whoa. Did my fucking... Oh, okay, it just refreshed. Okay. So yeah, I didn't know afterwards that everybody was supposed to die. So in the original scenario, I just made it so that the world just gets overrun by plants and everyone's just like, oh, okay. And then society rebuilds. And I think that's shit because that's not how the original ends. And that's a very lame ending. So it gets a D tier. If it weren't for that, if I stuck to the original source material, if I stayed faithful, it'd probably be up in C tier, but nothing above that. The alien virus, which is actually an EVS scenario. Now, oh, dude, I want to glaze this scenario so bad, but it doesn't deserve it. This is my Potential Man scenario, bro. Fuck. So the story is about, I'm not sure if it's still public on my channel, but the story is about the Apollo, I forgot what specific one, but it was the one with Neil Armstrong. They go to the moon and come back, but upon landing, they contaminate, I think it's Tampa, because that's where the actual shuttle landed, like a few miles off the coast of Tampa. And they end up contaminating it with an alien virus that was on the moon, which is an actual thing that NASA was fearing would happen when the crew returned. So they all had to be quarantined. And in this scenario, that premise is real. And so this alien virus begins to infect people. And essentially, like, it doesn't turn them into zombies. It's kind of like the alien virus itself is sentient. So when it infects that person, that person essentially becomes an alien because their mind isn't operating on their own mind, it's operating on the alien's mind. So they essentially begin to like infect and replace humanity with themselves. And in the end, like, they don't actually wipe out humanity, but they just like take over the planet and become like the dominant species and force humanity underground and into like rebel survivor groups. The story itself is really fucking cool. I actually like adore the story to death. And I feel like the execution was all right. Like, especially because it's an EBS scenario, I feel like it's also got a unique factor that way. And like, not like a typical EBS scenario, because most people's EBS scenarios take place in like the 80s or 90s, right before the EAS was introduced. This one takes place in the 60s. So I feel like that's got a little bit of charm to it. But the visuals are hot ass. And I can't really make any, I can't really like defend it really. Like, I can't really like act like the visuals aren't ass. They're just hot dog shit. So as much as I want to like overrate this scenario, I kind of can't overrate it. If I had a remaster, it would probably immediately go into S for that. But I don't think it's a C tier scenario. It's definitely not down here with the other scenarios. But I also can't put it too high. So I'll probably put it in the bottom of B tier. It's probably like my worst B tier scenario. Yeah. I love it. Moving on to Rogue Flare. This scenario, I remember having a lot of fun making it. I think it's alright, except for my shitty voice acting. I think the idea of a solar flare actually hitting Earth, like not just a geomagnetic storm that wipes us out, but an actual ray of plasma coming from the sun to the Earth, is really cool. And I feel like it's sort of executed well, except for the epilogue, which kind of states that half the world was charred by cosmic plasma, yet humanity came back, and because of materials in the plasma, we actually revolutionized as a species because we could use it for energy. So the world actually came out better, which is dumb. If something like that happened, everybody would just die. So I think the ending's really dumb. The visuals are kind of like all right for the time. And the ending, fuck no. No. You're not going there. Yeah, the visuals for the time, they're okay. They're not really that good. And the story is interesting, but the ending kind of soils it for me. So I'll put it in C tier. It's kind of average. No, I'm not trying to click on you. Fuck. Fuck! Yeah, Rogue Flare, C tier. Don't have much more to say about it. And now we get to Black Flames. Now, I actually have quite the fond memories of this scenario. The visuals, I feel like this one I started to like establish my actual style more for visuals. So the visuals were like, the visuals themselves, they're like C to D tier. But this is the scenario that introduces Kokahama. And I really like Kokahama. I think he's cool as fuck. And I could yap all day about Koka, but this scenario doesn't really like do what I wanted to do with him or what I wanted to do with the Black Flame story. I feel like this one, it's not really a Radioactive Queen ripoff like a lot of other OC scenarios are. Because the original story does actually have like sort of what I want it to be. Because I wanted this to be like a sort of political thriller. Because Koka's whole goal is to essentially pull up and fuck shit up. Essentially being a terrorist to scare the governments of the world. Because like he's seen all this like human suffering, you know, being a demon from hell. And so he decides to come to the human world, like take a vessel in the human world and essentially fuck shit up as a warning to the government of like, hey, you know, improve your people's shit. Stop being evil, colonial, fucking racist, genocidal bastards, or else I'm gonna fuck shit up and I'm gonna take over your country. And if the rest of the world also doesn't straighten up, I'll just take over the world. But this scenario doesn't really encapsulate that. Coca's kind of just like a sadist. Like, he kind of like just takes fun in the destruction, and like the message he sends, the message he's supposed to be sending to the governments of the world is kind of like lost. Like, it's kind of like the attacks will send a message, but I'm more so doing this for fun, which wasn't my original intention with Coca. So I feel like he's kind of mischaracterizing his own scenario, which saying that out loud is so fucking pathetic. But yeah, that just goes to show I wasn't as good of a writer as I am now. But I do still have lots of fond memories for this scenario. This scenario still holds a special place in my heart, and I still really like it, and I still really like it for introducing Coca. So for that, I'll have to put it top of B tier. Well, not top of B tier, but do I want to put it above the alien virus? You know, yeah, I like Coca more than I like aliens from space. I mean, alien viruses from space. Sorry, alien virus. Next up, Planet X. I don't have much to say about this scenario, except that it was really fun to work on, and the visuals are okay. I actually think, like, the thought of, like, my story, because, like, for a while I was kind of known as, like, the guy in the community who doesn't end the world in his scenarios, even in scenarios where the world should end. And in things like Rogue Flare, it's stupid and I shouldn't have done it. But in things like Planet X, I think the idea of a rogue planet like Nibiru getting entangled in our solar system and causing mass devastation, but not actually ending the world, just becoming another planet, is really cool. And if that happened in the real world, that would be cool as fuck. And I feel like this scenario, it doesn't really like explore the implications of that. It just kind of focuses on the destruction. But, you know, I wouldn't really be able to do something like that without making it like false prophet, more story focused. So I feel like for what it is, for the idea of like a rogue planet coming in and actually not fucking everything up, but actually, you know, making things okay and just becoming a member of the solar system, I think that's really cool. The visuals are also okay, so I'll put this one in B tier. It's not better than, I don't think it's better than Alien Virus or Black Flames, but it's a fun little scenario. It's an okay little watch. I like it. Aquatic Annihilation. This was my attempt at political scenarios, and it's okay. I mean, I feel like the concept of like the doomsday clock not foretelling nuclear war, but actually a climate catastrophe, because most people don't know this, like they still don't know this and didn't know it back then. The doomsday clock isn't solely for nuclear war. That's why whenever it was really close to midnight, people were scared like, oh, the world's gonna end. But the reason it was so close to midnight, okay, it just did the refresh thing again. The reason it was so close to midnight back when the scenario was being made was because we were fucking up the climate so bad that we were headed towards irreversible damage. And I'm pretty sure we've passed that threshold, which is why this heat wave is really bad and why a lot of severe storms have been happening. So the message is definitely relevant. And I feel like, you know, the fact that it like covers all the bases with climate related catastrophes, like, you know, ice caps melting, causing massive floods, tsunamis, and in other places it causes severe storms, severe droughts, food shortages, stuff like that. I feel like the scenario like does touch all the bases pretty well, but it kind of just like touches on them. It doesn't really like explore them all or give them all enough time. It just kind of goes from one to the other. So, and the actual message itself, I feel like that kind of got lost in the fact that it is an EAS scenario. It's not like False Prophet where it's more story focused. It is, at the end of the day, focused on the alerts. So the actual message of, hey, we're about to have a climate disaster, lock the fuck in, is kind of lost. But I feel like the visuals are all right. The message is a good message, and it's a message that's still relevant today. And it was pretty, I just don't have much bad to say about it. It was also the first time I ever tried to make a radar screen, which that was hot ass. I will admit, there's no defending that. Yeah, that's hot ass, but everything else is pretty all right. So I'll put it above Planet X, but not above Alien Virus or Black Flames. September 14th, 2020. Now, I actually really liked this scenario when I first made it. And even to this day, I still really like it. I feel like a lot of videos that have to do with asteroid collisions just end the world. Even though, like, it's more fun to explore if the world doesn't end. Like, how does it affect the planet? You know, because with stuff like Chicxulub, which took out the dinosaurs, the world didn't end, but it was really fucking hard to live in the world afterwards. And there were a bunch of other cataclysms caused by the impact itself, you know, big earthquakes, super volcanic eruptions. And this scenario touches on all of that. And I think it does it pretty well, especially for a 2020 Nova scenario. The only problem I have with it, the main problem that got it taken down, like the reason I took it down is because I used other people's content and like kind of stole screens from people without permission. And I fucking hate that because, one, I'm myself against content theft, so it's kind of hypocritical. And two, it's just fucking lazy. Like, I feel like everything like I didn't make myself in that scenario, I could have done that if I like tried a little harder. I just didn't. I got lazy. So I want to put this maybe high B tier, low A tier, but I can't for that reason. So maybe I think I'll put it top of C tier probably. Maybe I'll put it up at low B later when I give it some more thought. But yeah, for right now it's occupying top of C. Hong Kong Riots Remastered. This is going straight to the bottom. This is going straight to the bottom of B tier. The only reason it's not in F tier is because I actually think the visuals are pretty cool on this one. Meanwhile, with the original, the visuals just sucked ass. Reasons it's in D tier are the same as its predecessor. These are both ass scenarios. I hate them. ISIS Nightmare. So this actually got me in a little bit of trouble when the YP shit happened, because people were like, oh, you're going against YP, profiting off of tragedies, but you have ISIS Nightmare. And this isn't even my scenario. It's a remaster of SPC Hermitage's scenario. And it's not a real fucking terrorist event. ISIS never came to America with improvised nuclear weapons and destroyed a bunch of major cities. But aside from that funny little thing, I don't actually think too much of the scenario. It's kind of like the visuals are, you know, pretty bad. And it's kind of just like a play-for-play remaster. It doesn't actually do anything new. It just kind of touches up the visuals. So yeah, there's not much to say. I'll put it in the bottom of C tier because I don't remember having as much fun working on it as I did with Rogue Flare or September 14th. But it's definitely not a bad scenario. Well, no, it's a bad scenario, but it's not like D tier, you know. Cyrus the Vampire Remastered. I think this one can go in. C tier. I don't actually have much to say about it, except for the fact that, actually, no, I was gonna say it kind of has the same problem as the older Cyrus the Vampire videos, in that it doesn't actually do much for Vanessa or Cyrus's characterization. But I remember in the remaster, they're shown to at least like care about each other a lot more. Like it's actually elaborated on why Cyrus turned Vanessa into a vampire with him. And I'm pretty sure in the epilogue, they have children who they're actually really good parents towards. Like it's shown that they like aren't like total monsters, despite that they are dictatorial vampires hell-bent on, you know, not destroying the world, but taking over the world. And it does kind of combine all three parts into one scenario and touches up on all the visuals. But at the same time, other than that, again, it's kind of like a play-for-play remaster. And again, it doesn't do much in the characterization department, aside from making it known that Cyrus doesn't play about Vanessa, Vanessa doesn't play about Cyrus, which I think is an improvement over its predecessors, which is why it's in C tier, and also the visuals aren't bad. But again, it doesn't really do anything new, so I'm not going to put it higher. Just our luck. This is the definition of a forgettable scenario. I think I just made it because I wanted to get something out for Friday the 13th. It is, visually, it's okay. Like, this is the definition of a mid-tier, C-tier scenario. There is nothing good to say about it, but also nothing bad to say about it. Moving on. Why? See. I'm putting this in F tier. But it's not for the reason you think. It's not just because I hate MSW. I said I wouldn't let that happen. The reason it's going in F tier is because, one, my visuals for it were ass. Because I made the visuals back, I'm pretty sure, in like early 2020. And the scenario didn't come out until late 2020. So the visuals were outdated even for 2020 me standards. The story is the biggest fucking letdown ever. I was talking about this with June, not this scenario specifically, but just SCP-5000 in general. That SCP story has so much potential for good storytelling, yet MSW didn't do anything with it. Because I didn't work on the story. I was just invited on to, like, you know, collab on the visuals. The story is just, like, the SCP Foundation going, hey, after a new discovery, we're going to destroy humanity. And it's just that. They focus on destroying humanity. And I guess in the end, it's implied that the dude with the suit is planning on fighting back. But it never, like, actually does anything interesting with the SCPs. Like, I remember specifically, it features the butler killing the prime minister, I think of either Australia or the UK. And then it's like the SCP Foundation tweets out, you know, the picture of 096 like they do in the actual scenario. But nothing ever interesting is done with it. Governments don't try to censor it. Nobody tries to take down the SCP's fucking social media. Literally, like, in the tweet, the SCP Foundation just says, looky here, and then it's the picture of the dude on the mountain. It's so ass. It doesn't utilize the story at all. It's just focused on the alerts, the destruction, and the visuals aren't even good either. It's bad. It's like, even if it were made with, like, say, Saren or with Alice, I still would have put this in F tier because it's just a bad scenario. The visuals aren't good. The story isn't good. And it's the definition of wasted potential. It's not even potential, man. Like, Alien Virus did. It's just straight up missed potential. So, yeah. Ran about that over. It's bad. F tier. Fight me on that. Five Nights at Freddy's. This one, y'all know where this is going. Straight to double S. It's Five Nights at Freddy's and an EBS scenario. It's perfect. No, I'm just playing. So, the actual story of the animatronics going from, like, hating William to just wanting revenge in general, just wanting to, like, vent their frustration of essentially being trapped for eternity in suits, is pretty cool. But as a lot of people point out in the scenario comments, the problem would never get as bad as it did in the scenario itself. The military would probably come in and just blow up the animatronics and then boom, the 5 children are freed, it wouldn't have gotten that bad. But I do think it actually has some novelty because, again, it's an EBS scenario. And I actually do really like a lot of the screens I made for it. Especially because this introduces Moment's Notice Emergency Radio, which is kind of like a running company across my scenarios, which is... I never actually elaborated on what it is, but basically it's supposed to be a weather... Not like a weather radio, but like an emergency radio company that... in the, Nova cinematic universe blew up and is partnered with the National Weather Service to, obviously relay emergency information. It's basically an excuse for me to make custom NOAA weather radio screens that actually look cool and don't abide by the conventions of NOAA weather radio, because I got tired of people saying, Tom is in the CRS era. This scenario doesn't take place then. Tom shouldn't be used. Unrealistic. Well, I've got my own weather radio company now, bitches. You can't tell me what to do. Fuck off. But yeah, other than that, it's none too good to say about it, none too bad to say about it. Yeah. Actually, do I want to put it above Rogue Flare? Yeah, I think I'll put it above Rogue Flare. First come, first serve. Actually, you know what? This is, I think, motherfucker. How do I keep fucking this up? Anyways, I think this scenario might... I don't think it's top of B tier, but is that actually... Yeah, no, I'm not putting it above Alien Virus. But I do think it's actually like a solid scenario. And the reason I think that is because the idea of a malware, like a malware attack, like spreading across the globe, is really cool. And at the time, it wasn't a huge topic in EAS scenarios. Nowadays, it is kind of a huge topic, with, people like, never mind, Diamond doesn't upload anymore. But with Diamond, it was Backdoor and another scenario, I forgot the name. And then there's YP 0 Day or whatever it's called that, kind of prompted people to oversaturate the genre. But back then, it was still relatively novel. And the funniest part is that the actual scenario itself came about out of some guy's frustration with scalpers. Like, he asked me to make a scenario about, like, people... like scalping PS5s and recent Xboxes and recent iPhones. And I was like, well, how am I going to make that into a scenario? And then I thought about it and I was like, one of them has a virus, and that virus begins to spread because of people, buying these infected software, and it like spreading among the internet, spreading across like Wi-Fi and shit. There we go. And I think, like, it's not really like a potential man story like it is with like Alien Virus is, because the visuals, I actually think the visuals are all right, and the execution, I actually like the execution. And I also remember vividly, I remember doing a French screen for this, even though I haven't rewatched the scenario since I uploaded it. I remember doing a French screen, and I really liked the French screen. I thought it was cool. So yeah, this scenario is... I think it's one of the scenarios where I actually did utilize most of the potential. If I remastered it, it'd probably be better. It would probably go up to either an A or S tier scenario. Because, like, although I like the visuals, they definitely, like, aren't good by, today's standards. It's definitely a very dated scenario. But I think it's a fun little watch. I'll probably, like, rewatch it after this video or when I'm bored. Volcanic Winter Remastered. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this might seem crazy to y'all, and it probably is a little crazy. I'll probably take it down to S tier later in the tier list. But the reason I have this so high is because all the problems I had with the original volcanic winter, this does away with almost all of them. The visuals, even though they're dated, are such an improvement. And even today's standards, I consider a lot of them, like the NOAA weather radio screen, really fucking cool. And it actually like utilizes and delivers on the story really well. And also I remember just like, I don't think aside from CWWP, I've had as much fun making a scenario as I have with this scenario. I really liked making this. I think it does. I mean, I think the story's really good. I think the visuals are really good. I think the execution was not wasted at all. Everything was on point. I don't know. I think this is just like the definition of like a perfect scenario. Like you could argue by today's standards, the visuals are dated, and I won't fight you on that. This scenario is about to be half a decade old. I'm not going to defend its visuals, but dude, I just can't bring it. I just can't put it down because of that. Everything else I think is done so well that it deserves a spot amongst like the high tiers. It deserves a spot as one of the best. So I'm putting it in double S. I might knock it down to just S tier later, but for right now, it's our first double S tier. I fucking, dude, I love Volcanic Winter, dude. I love it so much. War of the Horoscopes. Yeah. No, actually, yeah, right there. Mid, definition of mid. The story idea itself, that being that people, because of their star signs, are like just pitted against each other by some like supernatural force. I think that's really cool, really interesting. But the scenario doesn't actually focus on that, like the implications of that at all. Like I'm pretty sure I like gave the protagonist of the scenario friends that matched his star sign just so that they wouldn't turn on him and kill him. Actually, no, I think one of their friends actually does turn on them and like kill one of the guys at the start, and then that is just like never brought up again, even though that would be really interesting and have a lot of room for, you know, character development and conflict in the story. It just doesn't explore that. The visuals are meh. The story is meh. The execution is meh. It's just like Just Our Luck. It's the definition of a mid-meh scenario. The only reason it's above Isis Nightmare and Just Our Luck is because the visuals are better. And I put it below everything else because, again, it doesn't do anything better than those scenarios do. So, yeah. War of the Machines. I would have put this in F tier. Just because MSW. No, like, dude, I don't know. This scenario is like half of the reason I had to implement that rule of like, I can't judge it by the creators. Because everyone on this project, except for me, sucks. FC Man said some weird shit, made a vor scenario, and was racist. MSW, do I need to explain what he did? Messiah turned out to be a pedophile. Nobody on this scenario is a good person except for me. And that's debatable because I'm an asshole. So like the nightmare blunt rotation. But I'm not judging it. I said I wasn't going to judge it on that. So I have to set that to the side and take the scenario for what it is. And for what it is, I'll put it at the back B tier. Messiah and Hero Eyes was on this too. Hero Eyes, I guess he's an alright person. He was kind of annoying back then though. But yeah, Hero Eyes and Messiah, they make really good screens. They know what they're doing. And the plot, it's alright. Like, it's trying to be its own thing, but it's also, again, just trying to be a play for play of Terminator, which I thought was weird. I remember when I was working on this with MSW before he was like, you know, a weirdo. I even like brought that up to them. I was like, hey, are we gonna like do one thing or the other, and he was just like, nah, we're just gonna do this. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Not my story, not my scenario, because, you know, again, with collabs, I don't consider them my scenario. I just provided my visual work. I think I voice acted at the end and got brutally murdered, so that was fun. You got to hear me scream for my life, which I think is funny. But yeah, this would be in C tier if it weren't for the visuals. The visuals are really good, but everything else is kind of like, and the people behind it are terrible people. Yeah, it would have been an F. It would have been an F tier if I didn't have that rule. The Beast. This one is also going straight to C. Probably, I'll put it at the second top of C tier. I don't know why the scenario blew up. I truly don't know why the scenario blew up. I actually do have a few positive things to say about this, because I was gonna say it's just like another mediocre scenario, just like Just Our Luck and War of the Horoscopes. But no, I actually have some positive things to say about it. The Richmond police tweet is probably like the best part of that scenario because of how realistic I made it look. Back then, I really loved it because it looked like a real tweet. And even today, I think it still looks pretty realistic. Like if you were in 2020 and showed that to somebody, they'd probably only question its validity based on the fact that, you know, it's a fucking werewolf in somebody's house, rather not the fact that it looks fake. So I think that part was really cool. And I think the news segments were okay. And obviously the visuals, they're dated by today's standards, but by 2021 standards, they were all right. So I can't really fault it on that. It's just really mid. It doesn't deserve to have the fame it gets. Like, it has view counts up there with Pangea Remastered and CWWP. I'm like, what the fuck? Undeserving of its fame. But, you know, it makes me money. So, you know, I can't complain too much. I'm just still wondering why the algorithm picked this one up. Clover Calamity. Now, I actually had to rewatch this one because I just genuinely didn't remember a thing. But when I rewatched it, it was alright. It was alright. I think I'll put it above War of the Machines. And that's about it. The plot, I think, is actually, like, kind of interesting. That being, on St. Patrick's Day, clovers around the country just, like, changed from being regular clovers to radioactive. And so the whole country and the rest of the world essentially became irradiated for a day. And I think that's pretty funny. I think it's also pretty interesting. And some of the visuals, like the first screen, its ticker is really cool with the blue and gray. Not blue and gray. Orange and gray. It kind of looks like lava to me. And I think that's pretty cool. The EAN, I also like that. The gray and black Easy Plus. The problems I have with it are, again, it's kind of mediocre. It doesn't really do much. And it's pretty short, so it can't really do much. The story itself, there isn't much room to do anything with. And the visuals, although they're like pretty neat, pretty nifty, pretty cool, they're not the best, obviously. They're kind of mediocre, like I said. So I can't really put it anywhere above bottom of B tier. I was thinking about putting it in C tier when I like first watched it, like rewatched it for this video. But then after rewatching it, I was like, nah, this doesn't deserve that. Maybe like bottom of B tier. It's only above War of the Machines because, again, you know, I just, even though I made it a rule that I wouldn't judge these scenarios based off of their creators, I'm sorry, I just can't put this above the scenario made by a vor fetishist, a racist, and a pedophile. It is better than that solely based on that. So I put it above War of the Machines, even though it really has no right to be above War of the Machines. But yeah, I like Clover Calamity. It's alright. Everywhere at the End of Time. I think this is... Do I want to put this in B tier or do I want to put this in A tier? Because I think... Yeah, no. I'll put it in B tier. It deserves B tier. I was going to put it in A tier based on the story and visuals because I think the visuals are, again, pretty good for 2021 standards. And the story itself, that being after people, like if people listen to everywhere at the end of time, they actually start developing symptoms of dementia that worsen just like it does in the song. And I think that's really cool, especially because there was like hijackings that played the song over the air and on sirens just to get more people. I think that was really cool because it's like, it's not a, oh, excuse me, it's not a traditional cognito hazard scenario where like people just die. People just like begin to slowly not act like themselves because that's how dementia is. Like it starts off as harmless, you know, nobody really pays attention to it, then everybody starts coming down with it, and like eventually it spreads to like the entire country and the entire world. And I think that's really cool. It's like a really cool idea. Maybe if like you made an analog horror or something, you could go even further with it and make it even more interesting. But the reason I didn't put it in A tier, I like took it down to B tier, is because the ending is kind of ass. I'm pretty sure everybody just gets their memories back, and I don't even remember why. Either way, it's stupid. That shouldn't have been the case. I feel like everybody should have just kept their dementia. That would have made the scenario interesting, much more interesting, much more impactful, and you know, it actually would have had stakes, but it doesn't, so it's going in B tier. Train wreck of a train wreck. I think this one is going into maybe A tier. I don't know. I kind of want to put it. The thing is, I don't think it's better than like. Well, no. The way I want to say this is, I don't love it more than Alien Virus or Black Flames. But I feel like by having Black Flames and Alien Virus down in B tier, it's putting the threshold for A tier way too high. Because Trainwreck of a Trainwreck, by all measures, should be way better. I mean, it's way better than Black Flames or Alien Virus. Visually, I think the story of, you know, the government being not incontinent. That's a fucking issue where you can't control your pissing and shitting. Incompetent and causing a train containing chemical weapons to derail and contaminate the local area is really cool. I think that's a good story. And I think the visuals, especially because like that was my first dip into more like old-timey analog visuals. It's not like outright analog horror, but they are old-timey visuals. I think I did a pretty good job on that. Especially with like the Xfinity screens and the tech scan screens. Those especially I really like. So like there's nothing bad I can say about this scenario. But part of me feels like it shouldn't be above Black Flames or Alien Virus. So you know what? I think because of that, I'll lift Black Flames and Alien Virus up to A tier. Even though I don't really fully subscribe to the idea that they should be in A tier. By like, based on merit, I kind of like them too much. And by having them in B tier, I think I'm setting the threshold for A tier way too high. Because it's essentially like, how much do I like this? So yeah, I think I'll put it in A tier. And also the name, the title is like really funny. I like it. I liked it back then. I thought it was clever back then, and I think it still holds up. Northwestern Nightmare. Basically the same thing I have to say about Trainwreck of a Trainwreck, except it goes behind Trainwreck of a Trainwreck because I think the visuals are less impressive, but it has some novelty because it's based off of like, it's basically alternate history of an actual like severe weather event that happened to me. Because in the actual event, I think the highest I got was either slight or moderate risk, and in the scenario it was a high risk. So you know, I think that's really neat. And it was also the first time I ever made my own convective outlook. And I think even today, it still looks really convincing. So it has that novelty factor. But the ending is kind of just like a text wall, which I think is ass. And also the visuals are less impressive than Trainwreck. So it's going behind it. Familiar Faces. This is sort of like Black Flames 1.5. And the scenario is about Trump addressing the nation, like in response to the attacks for July 4th. But he hasn't actually done anything to like improve the country. He's kind of just using it to fearmonger and shit. So Coca just comes up and like snipes him, like specifically doesn't kill him, just leaves him alive to again send the message of, you know, I'm the nigga in charge here. I can take your life away whenever I want. I'm the alpha, I'm the sigma. And I think that's really funny. Fucking Coco. Like, especially because he's like this primordial demon who, this lore hasn't been explained yet, but like in the original lore, this nigga fights Satan himself. The king of hell. The nigga who ran a fade with God. And yet uses a sniper rifle to take out a 70-year-old man. I think that's hilarious. So for that, I just have to put it in A tier. And also the visuals are, the visuals are also really good. I think the screens still hold up even to this day. Even though the scenario is like privated, I'm pretty sure you can't watch it. But yeah, I think it's above Trainwreck and that because it's funnier and the visuals are really good. But yeah, it's not above Black Flames itself, I think. Foreign Invasion. No, there's no way I can argue this being anything lower than A tier. This, I feel like, this is when, I don't know if I want to put this in A tier or S tier. I think this is when people, like, this is when the shift from, like, me being kind of like a niche creator, like a fringe creator, to an actual taken seriously impressive creator happened. Because like nowadays people kind of talk about me in a sort of elevated status, kind of like I'm one of the greats or like one of the OGs of the community. And I feel like without Foreign Invasion that wouldn't have been possible, because there is like not a single bad aspect about the scenario except for maybe the story, because it's a remaster of SCP Hermitage's scenario. But it's not just a shot-for-shot remaster. It improves on the story, goes into the geopolitics, goes into the actual reasons for the war. And I think even though my story writing ability wasn't that good back then, it's still a really good story and executed really well. I like how the news segments look even to this day. I like how the alerts look even to this day, especially with Enwo. She popped the fuck off with her contributions to the scenario, especially the EAN and that one cable screen she did. Those look really good. As I said, again, the news scenes are really good. The actual alerts themselves are really good, especially for 2021 standards. And it's overall just like established my sort of standard for, well, no, technically Volcanic Winter did that, but I feel like Foreign Invasion like kinda like, what's the word, it established that, because my like standard for remasters now is not just that they're unless the source material is actually already perfect. Even then, I probably wouldn't remaster it because, you know, there's no point. But like for me, remasters have to not only be just they not only have to be just visually improvement, like a visual improvement, but they also have to like improve the story and make it more than what it was. And I think Foreign Invasion does that really well. Hermitage himself thinks that Foreign Invasion does that really well, which I was really proud to see, because Hermitage is like, you know, still an inspiration for me, even though his visuals are admittedly, you know, not the best. They've stagnated since like 2020, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, you know, the man just does content for fun and because he wants to, so you can't really fault it for that. Even though it is kind of crazy. But yeah, it does everything a remaster should. And it looks really good too. So, S tier. Yeah, I think I'll put it in S tier. The original Warden's Wrath. Many people don't know that the Warden's Wrath that I actually like, the Warden's Wrath that's up to date isn't the original. Warden's Wrath originally came out in 2021, but it was unfinished, which is why I have nothing good to say for this scenario. Top of D tier. That's a bit of a lie. The visuals are pretty good. All right, the visuals are pretty good. This is my first like major step into analog horror. I think the visuals are pretty good. And I think the story is also really good, especially for the alerts leading up to Warden's Wrath. Like, you know, Coca's games, and especially like the major broadcast where he kind of takes over the world and then like takes over timelines. And then like in the UN broadcast, the UN basically says like, there's nothing we can really do here. Just try to fucking survive. I think that was really good. And I think that's the one thing the remaster doesn't recapture. Like just how much of an actual threat this version of Kokahama is. Because this isn't Kokahama from the Black Flame series. This is like an alternate Kokahama. I was gonna explain that in like, you know, maybe a future scenario, but you know, it wouldn't really make sense for me to like not address it, because these are kind of like two very different characters, because this guy's just like actually killing and taking over timelines for fun, meanwhile the other Kokahama is actually trying to like improve the world, albeit through terrorist means. So yeah, I feel like this scenario and like this little version of Kokahama's games established Kokahama as more of a threat and like more of an unstoppable, unbeatable force that you kind of just have to survive, more than the remaster does. But at the same time, it is literally an unfinished scenario that I just released, and that's so fucking lazy and goes against everything I stand for as a creator. So no matter how good it is, I can't put it above D tier because I don't think it deserves that. It represents the worst aspects of myself as a creator and like one of my lowest moments as a creator. Because again, I was like going through not again, I never said this, but yeah, I was going through a big burnout at the time and I just couldn't finish it. I didn't get it out by its Halloween deadline, and I was kind of just tired of it being on my phone. I was kind of like tired of looking at it, like just being reminded of that failure and of that burnout. So I just uploaded it in its unfinished form. And again, that's not the move. I hate that. I regret that. Fuck. Oh, I've entirely skipped this. Fuck. Malfunction. This one was really good. Fuck. Hold on. Let me get that up there in A tier. That one was really good. I don't think I like it as much as Black Flames, but this one was really good for a again, this one also does, like, this one is also an example of what I think a remaster should be. It improves the visuals, it improves on the story, and overall makes the scenario better than the original. It is a remaster in every sense of the word. So, you know, I think it deserves its spot in A tier. And also, I remember this scenario got both, like, Electric and Harvester to be like, damn, okay, this kid knows what he's doing, which, you know, I thought was pretty fucking cool, because Electric is one of my biggest inspirations, same for Harvester. So, yeah, Malfunction, that goes in A tier. It's really good. It's a good scenario. I'd probably rewatch it today. Now we get to the 2020 era, and we get to CWWP. I don't think I even need to explain this. I don't need to explain this at all. This is going to the top of double S tier. I still think that to this date, this is my best scenario ever. There's like, aside from the shitty drawings, there is like nothing wrong with this. And actually no, because there were some scenes that I meant to get in, but I couldn't because I forgot about them, and I couldn't send them to Alice, who actually rendered the scenario for me because my laptop and my phone were being weird. So she ended up rendering the scenario for me, but I didn't send her like all the clips, so some parts got left out, which I'm like still like mad at myself for that, because if those were in there, then this scenario would have been even more perfect. But for what's there, like, I can't really find a problem with it. Like, maybe the text walls, the exposition dumps, maybe. Other than that, there's like nothing bad I can say about it. The visuals, again, huge improvement. This is a fucking remaster of a scenario from 2019. If the visuals, like, obviously the visuals are going to be an improvement. If they weren't, that would be concerning. But it's not just that they're an improvement. They're fucking amazing. The fucking broadcast where the Angels of Germany, like where South Dakota falls and then the Angels of Germany take over, that is still like a top 5 Nova segment ever. Like, I still think that holds up as one of my best and one of my like scariest, I guess, most eerie visuals. Like, it kind of drags for a little bit, and it kind of does get a little extreme, especially at the end, where FEMA literally tells people, like, if the Angels of Germany show up, to kill themselves rather than let themselves be taken over or taken by the Angels. Which, you know, you could argue that it's edgy, that it's doing too much, and I won't fight you on that, but at the same time, these are Nazis who have access to a zombie virus. Me as a black individual, if the Angels of Germany pull up to my house and I can't fight back, I'm doming myself too. So I don't think it's that bad that FEMA saying, hey, you know, if you're not a white male and these guys are like holding you hostage, you should probably just take yourself out, because there's not much else you can do other than become enslaved and get wiped out for their genocidal agenda anyways. So again, the story, huge improvement, really good. The visuals, really good. The like, one thing Alice pointed out about this scenario, like what she likes about it that I agree with, is that unlike a lot of other zombie scenarios, it actually like shows you the progression, makes you feel like how dire things are getting and like how fast things are getting dire. Because for most zombie scenarios, it kind of just focuses on the zombies and the end of the world. I think my best like part of the scenario is the fact that I like actually make you feel the apocalypse, not just like you're spectating it. You're like actually seeing like, oh shit, this shit's getting real. This shit's getting bad. And I think that's immersion. That's the word I'm looking for. It immerses you. And I think that's what every scenario should do. So for that, again, there's like nothing bad about it. So it's going in double S tier. I wish I could say the same for the 1000. This scenario is, again, I think it's kind of like a mess scenario, but I'll put it in B tier. This scenario was kind of just rushed to get it out, one, as a 1,000 subscriber scenario. Actually, and I'll put it above Clover Calamity as like a 1,000 subscriber scenario, like a 1,000 subscribers, special. And yeah, to get it out as a 1,000 subscriber special, and to get it out before the deadline of February 22nd, 2022, because I felt like that was a once in a lifetime event, so I wanted to get something out by then. And, you know, I kind of just rushed it, and I don't really like that. I think the story itself is pretty interesting, in that being that a supernova happens and it's visual from Earth, but certain few people, like when they see the supernova, it activates something within them, and then they like receive messages from the supernova, which is supposed to be an allegory for my fans and like my subscribers, with the supernova being, you know, me, Supernova, Hypernova. So I think that's a really fun concept. The visuals are okay. They're definitely not a CWWP, but they're also kind of better than anything I put out before it, which again, that's not really impressive, seeing as, you know, this is a 2020 scenario, so if it wasn't visually more impressive, then scenarios beforehand, that would be a bit of a problem. But I also can't praise it for being better because, you know, again, it's supposed to be better. But yeah, I don't have much to say about this scenario. This was rushed. I'm not very proud of it. But there is one, it's not funny, but like, I don't know, I just find it very interesting how I was making this scenario, I put it out, I was really excited by it. And then I got the news that Russia attacked Ukraine, like Russia began to invade Ukraine, which again, it's not funny. People are dying, but like it's just the fact that I was so happy I got the scenario out, and like I was feeling so happy just to be met with that, you know, terrible news, that, you know, whiplash, you know. I don't know. I still laugh at it to this day. That might be me misremembering though, because I remember the invasion starting on February 22nd, but most sources say it was either the 23rd or the 24th. So, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Pangea Remastered. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Fuck. Motherfucker. I messed up my order. Pangea Remastered. That's also going in double S tier. Now, most people I met say this is my best scenario. Like almost everyone I talk to say this is my best, or this is their favorite of mine, which again, I don't mind because, you know, again, basically everything I have to say about this scenario, everything I have to say about CWWP can apply to this scenario. And Diamond was really proud about, Diamond really loved it too. So again, that also boosts my opinion of it up. Again, it's an improvement visually. It's an improvement on the story. It makes it something much more than what it was originally. And it actually, like, you know, explores everything. There's no like wasted potential here. There's no underutilizing. And I think, again, I think that's just perfect. Visually, I actually think it's better than CWWP. And it also has drawn segments in it that are a little bit better than CWWP's because my art improved a little bit, but it was still ass. The reason I don't put it above CWWP is because I just like CWWP more. Even though I had lots of fun on Pangea Remaster 2, like, again, it was really fun to work on. It was also right as I began to, like, burn out and get really fucking depressed. Like I think I've said it before, but like, dude, somebody needed to, I'm so glad I had the people around me I did in 2022, because dude, I was in a horrible mental space. Like, it was sort of building up since 2021, but it just came to a head in the summer of 2022. I crashed and I was down in a hole that I just like could not get out of. And even to this day, I'm definitely in a better mental spot, but I still don't feel like I still don't like feel like I've completely gotten out of that hole, because like I don't have the same motivation for like any passion projects as much as I did back then. And excluding 2024, I don't really have the same like peaks of enjoyment of like life and like happiness and like, you know, the stuff I do, the stuff I make as back then. So there's that kind of like holds it back, but that's kind of just like me sort of venting a little bit. That's not really something I can hold against the scenario, you know, oh, I entered a major depressive episode and I never fully got out of it. Yeah, and that's Pangea's fault, when it's not. This was like the last good thing I made before the depressive episode hit. So yeah, venting over, I like Pangea. I really like Pangea. I don't know why Greenland is up here. That is not in chronological order. Extraterrestrial Virus 2, which is actually Saren's scenario. This isn't mine. It's just on my channel because YouTube was being stupid and wouldn't let him upload it to his channel. I like this. I like extraterrestrial virus too. The visuals were good. The story was good. And it's, I wouldn't say it's alien virus like actualized, because again, it's Saren's series. He obviously had a different vision for BSIP-1 than I had with, you know, my actual alien virus. So I can't say it's, and there's a lot of stuff that is done in extraterrestrial virus that I wasn't intending on or couldn't do in alien virus. So I can't really like say it's alien virus actualized, like fully realized, because these are just two different stories with two different directions they were supposed to go in. But again, everything is kind of done better, like the story, the visuals, everything's an improvement. So I can't really like say much bad about it, you know. Yeah, I think it deserves that spot in A tier. Black Moon. This is another scenario where I have to not what's it called? Have to not focus on the creators for it, because I fucking hate Owen and I still think Dixie Doe is a loser. But even disregarding those guys, this scenario is just not very good. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was unique back then. It's just not very good. I thought it was unique and thought it was pretty good because we were doing the Black Moon, which is a very destructive end of the world type SCP, but it was under, like, nobody in the EAS community really made videos about it. So we wanted to do that to sort of like, you know, be different. And I think the story is actually pretty good because, you know, I wrote the script, so to gas myself up a little bit, I was the writer for the majority of the script. So, I think I did a good job on the story. It's mostly just the execution for me that I kind of hate. I don't think the scenario was executed very well. It was kind of rushed. It dragged on for a while. And even though the visuals are really good, like to this day, I still think the Brazil screen I made is really good. And Dixie Doe, despite how much of a cornball and a loser he is, he knew what he was doing when it came to editing software. So, you know, I can't fault his visuals. His visuals are really fucking good, even though he's kind of just a Messiah clone. Yeah, I don't really have anything good to say about the scenario aside from that. So I'll put it high C tier. Dragon Rising, going straight to F, top of F tier. And this is because I say that Warden's Wrath is like one of my lowest points as a creator, but keyword one of, I think Dragon Rising itself is the actual worst part, because, you know, I don't even need to, I'm not even gonna like criticize the scenario just to justify putting it in F, because the visuals, I actually think the visuals are alright. And the story, again, the story could have been good, but I didn't put any effort into it. And also the execution was pretty bad. So the scenario itself, you know, it's mid. The real reason I'm putting it in F is because I just made the scenario for money. To be completely honest, that is the only reason I made the scenario. And that alone, no matter how good the story like would have been or could have been, I'm putting in F just for that alone. Even if it was CWWP levels of good, like in terms of everything else, I still would have put it in F, because that's like the one thing I promised to myself, that no matter what happens, I would not make a scenario for money. Like if I ever got to the point where I'd make money or profit off scenarios, I would never make a scenario solely for money. I'm only making a scenario because I want to make the scenario. This is my passion project. It's something I want to do. It's not motivated by an external factor like that. You know, with something like False Prophet, where I did sort of self-censor a little bit, like, find workarounds to include, like, for a lot of my scenarios after I got monetized, I stopped using copyrighted music so that, my scenarios would actually be monetized and make money. Again, that's a change I made, like, based off of greed, which, it's whatever, but I don't think that's as egregious as making an entire scenario dedicated, like, for the sole reason of making money. Because at least with those other scenarios where I, like, changed stuff around so that I could earn money, the scenario itself at the end of the day was still something I wanted to make and something I made because I wanted to do it. Like False Prophet. I'm trying to think of other scenarios I use copyrighted music for. Pangea. Those, I had to work around the copyrighted music for the purpose of earning money. But at the end of the day, I wanted to make False Prophet. I wanted to make Pangea. So even if those scenarios didn't earn a cent, I still would have made them. Those still would have came out. If it weren't for money, Dragon Rising would have never came out. And that, to me, is why it deserves F tier and why it's down in F tier. And aside from that, like I said, the story's kind of lackluster. The visuals are okay, and the execution is bad. And all of that was motivated by, again, that said shitty mental state at the time. I was just like, not me when the scenario came out. Like, I was like, dude, like, I can't even, like, begin to express how, like, terrible of a mental state I was in back then. Like, saying I should have been on suicide watch probably isn't that big of an exaggeration. I don't want to make this part of the scenario too dark. This part of the video too dark by, just venting. But, especially looking back at it, now that I'm in a way better mental state and now that I'm actually, like, doing, decently. Yeah, that was not a good point in my life. So, obviously, I wouldn't really care to make a quality scenario, which, again, goes against everything I value as a creator. So even more reason for this scenario to be an F tier. Bad. Warden's Wrath, on the other hand, that has the opposite. Yeah, we're putting you in S tier. You are going to S tier. I think this was my first, like, big splash into analog horror, and I think it holds up really well. I would have put it in double S tier, but I don't quite think it deserves that because I could have made the visuals a little better. And there was a lot of just like old Warden's Wrath, there's a lot of stuff I wanted to do that I couldn't do because of this time. It wasn't really burnout, it was just because I had a lot of other stuff going on. I had school going on. Again, my mental state was still shit, and I was also having to juggle the Clay investigation, so I couldn't really put any time into Warden's Wrath. And so the scenario, it's still a really good scenario. It's just not as good as it could have been. So again, it's not getting S tier because those are scenarios that are as good as they could have been. But despite all of that, this scenario is still really good. Like, I think it holds up perfectly. I think it's still a really good analog horror scenario. I think the visuals are fucking amazing. The segments are really cool, really freaky. What the fuck? Yeah, I think the scenario, like, sets out what it, like, does what it sets out to do pretty well. Like, not pretty well, really well. There's, like, nothing bad I can say about it. It's just a really good scenario. There's a lot I like about it. And this is even some people's favorite scenario for me. I think Alice said that's her personal favorite for me. Same with Wacky, I think. Which kind of surprised me because, again, I don't think it's, like, as good as Pangea Remastered or, CWWP. But I'm glad, like, it seems to be. Actually, there is one thing I want to touch on. This is just me complaining. I don't get why this became a cultural, like, I say cultural phenomenon. Why it became such a phenomenon in the community. Everybody loves this scenario, but everybody hates it too. Because, like, dude, this scenario came out And it was just free real estate for niggas. All you had to do to make it big with analog horror, copy Warden's Wrath, upload it. Yes, I am looking at Lord Aviation, and I'm still bitter about it because the original the original Wrath of Tartarus already outperformed Warden's Wrath, even though it was just a shot for shot. It was just shot for shot Warden's Wrath, except replace Kokahama taking over the world with some Roblox creature. And then, boom, you just make a bag off of it. And then I asked him, hey, man, this kind of sucks. You know, I don't hate you as a creator. I actually really like, at the time, I really liked Lord Aviation. He definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to editing and making scenarios. His visuals are really good. So I asked him, hey, man, could you, like, you know, not do this? You know, could you, like, maybe remaster it and, like, you know, make your own story? And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry, dude, I'll do that. And then he remastered it. And, again, it was just like Warden's Wrath, but with, like, one or two things changed. And, again, it blew up. So, yeah, I'm still very... And like, a lot of other scenarios and other creators did that, too. It was just Warden's Wrath, but deviated a little bit. And then they made a bag off of it. And, like, you might be like, oh, Nova, why aren't you complaining? I thought, like, you wanted that as creators. Isn't a creator's job to make something to inspire people? And yes, it is. Like, part of me is happy that Warden's Wrath was, like, it stuck with so much people. Like, it affected people so much that they wanted to, like, you know, take a crack at it. And I think that's really beautiful. I think that's really cool. Like, that's one of the things I strive to do as a creator. What I hate is that people aren't just, like, doing their own thing. They aren't inspired by Warden's Wrath. They're just copying Warden's Wrath and putting their own coat of paint over it. It's not, like, doing anything different or doing anything unique. And I just, like, I used to make a big deal about it, but it's an uphill battle. You know, people love those scenarios. I can't really do anything about it. And, you know, people are gonna, you know, keep doing it. So it doesn't really matter. Well, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing I can really do about it. It's just kind of really unfortunate, and I hate that it happened. Like, I love it when people are inspired by me to make content or to do stuff. But I hate it when people are just lazy about it. And I think that's, like, my main gripe with people, with Warden's Wrath blowing up. But anyways, yeah, Warden's Wrath, S tier scenario. Good. Greenland. This collab with me, Diamond, and Enwo. I kind of... I think I'll put this in the bottom of S tier, actually. Because it's a scenario about Greenland. I really like Greenland as a movie. I think it's not a really good movie. I think it's a decent movie. And I think the scenario itself, the visuals, amazing. Diamond, amazing creator. Knew what they were doing. Obviously, that's why they were so big and it was such a letdown when they left. Enwo, I've always said, and I still do say, she's better than me at this EAS shit. So obviously her visuals are on point. And I think even my visuals are on point. And again, the scenario story, it's based on Greenland. And I like Greenland. But I think, like, the story we did and, like, the stuff, like, we tackled is actually a little bit more impactful than a movie. Which is a little crazy to say. Like, this is a big movie production. But I feel like we encapsulated the horror and hopelessness of a scenario like this better than the movie. And part of that has nothing to do with us. Part of that is because of my boy, Dead Specimen. That man, I don't know what is his deal, but he just fucking pops off for unpaid voice acting. I forgot to mention it with Pangea Remastered, but, like, give him a role where he's scared or needs to, like, sound, like, hopeless. This nigga will, like, actually make you cry. This nigga will make you feel bad for watching a scenario. Like, his part in Greenland, I heard that, like, Diamond sent it into me. I listened to that. I'm like, what the fuck? is this nigga actually about to die to an asteroid? This nigga sounds genuinely distraught. What the fuck? He went in there and did his thing. That man can voice act. I have nothing negative to say about the scenario. Only praises to sing about it. This scenario was really good, and I had a lot of fun working on it. So yeah, I think the props go far more to Enwo and Diamond and the voice actors than it does to me. But you know, it's technically my scenario too, so I'm gonna include it, and I think it deserves S tier. Smoke-filled secession. I think this one is also an S tier. Maybe high A actually. No, definitely S tier. Probably bottom of it. No, it's definitely better than 4. Actually, yeah. I think that's how I want to go. Again, don't really have anything bad to say about Smoke-filled secession. The visuals are really good. The story's really good. This is actually like my second big like political scenario, and it's like my intention for it was to be like a realistic depiction of a secession scenario, and I actually think I did that like really well. The only problem I have with it is that there's a scene where Air Force One is taken down by an F-16 from Texas because they succeeded. And then that F-16 proceeds to take down 2 F-22s that were protecting Air Force One, which wouldn't fucking happen ever. An F-22 would smoke an F-16 before the pilot even realized that, before they even saw Air Force One. So yeah, that scene's probably going to get retconned in the future if I do make a sequel to Smoke-filled secession, because I did leave it off on a cliffhanger of Cascadia potentially succeeding. And 3 years later there still isn't a sequel. So if I do make a sequel, that's gonna get retconned. But other than that, I think the story was pretty realistic. I think the story was actually pretty good. The visuals were really good, especially the more horror related segments like the Enough is Enough segment. And I think the voice acting was also really good. Again, Dead Specimen, he was actually the governor this time, and he still popped the fuck off. And I think Jay Silvers was in this scenario. He's also another really good voice actor. I don't know why he's doing unpaid VA work for EAS scenarios. That nigga needs to be in Hollywood or like narrating audiobooks or some shit. He did really good. There was the voice actor for the WYRM segment. He was really good. I kind of forgot his name though, because it's been 3 years. I feel bad about that. But yeah, there's just nothing bad about this scenario. I don't think I like it more than Warden's Wrath, but I still really like it. And funniest thing, right? I forgot what scenario it was that Diamond made, but I remember they put out a scenario like for us, like Rito, me, Diamond, and Clay all put out scenarios like around the same time, with Clay's being the Wedge 4. And like obviously since this was after we exposed Clay, we obviously hated Clay. And like the best, I think like what is still the funniest part of that whole predicament, all of our scenarios like on first day views outdid the Wedge 4. Like eventually the Wedge 4 beat us out because duh, it's Clay. He had like 8,000 subscribers compared to my 2,000 at the time. Rito's like again 3,000, and Diamond's also 3,000. So obviously he was gonna beat us eventually. But the fact that like more people wanted to see what we made than what Clay made is still really fucking funny to me. And I think that alone could peg up Smoke-filled secession on the tier list if I just didn't like everything above it more. So yeah, I have good things to say. Find Him, a part of the what's it called, Nature's Riot series. Don't have much to say about this scenario. I think like, because this was like my first like my second dedicated analog horror scenario. Like a scenario, it's like 10 minutes long. So it's like by barely a full length scenario by definition. Well, by my own definition. Yeah, I think the visuals and the screens are actually really good. I don't really have much bad to say about it. It's more so like a exposition scenario to explain how like the Memphis remnant groups all really care for Jacob and how they're like dedicated to finding him after his disappearance. So I think it's pretty good. Probably bottom. No, it's definitely above Trainwreck. It's not above Familiar Faces though. Definitely not above Familiar Faces because actually, you know what? I think I'll put these two down in B tier. I don't think they're quite on the level of the other ones. Now that I think about it, I'll probably put First Come First Serve above them because that scenario's plot is just that interesting. Not a Sunrise. This is also probably going in A tier, like bottom of A tier. I think it's just like it does what Find Him does, but better. It's a better analog horror scenario, and I'm like quite disappointed that this one underperformed. But I don't also have that much to say about it. What else? Enigma. Again, Dead Specimen did his fucking thing. And the actual presentation, this scenario is like heavily, like the visual direction is heavily inspired by Mandela Catalog. You can like see it with like the police segments and shit like that. And I think I did it really well. And I think the actual screen, like I used to like think this, like become discouraged by this scenario because I actually like put a lot of work into it. And then it just like underperformed in the algorithm. Which, you know, obviously, you know, that was kind of demoralizing. And I kind of like let that demoralization affect how I viewed the scenario. But then I actually like looked back at it and I'm like, Enigma was actually pretty fucking good. Enigma was like, and a lot of my friends like agreed with that, especially FT, because I remember like talking to him about how I thought Enigma was shit, and he was like, Enigma has like some of the most unique screens I've ever seen in a scenario, and I was like, you really think so? You actually like this shit? And then I like gave it another chance. I was like, I actually like this shit. This isn't half bad. And this scenario like was actually supposed to have Diamond on it too, but you know, Diamond stopped doing YouTube. And so it became a solo scenario, which is a little unfortunate. I would have loved to do it with Diamond because Diamond is the GOAT, but you know, they're happier being gone, so you know, can't really do much about it. I don't know if I want to put this in the top of A tier or if I want to put it in the like close to the bottom of S tier. It's definitely better than Foreign Invasion, but I also don't think it's as good as, actually I don't think I want to peg Foreign Invasion down, but I feel like by having Foreign Invasion in here, it sets the bar for S tier too high. I don't know. I'll put Enigma in S tier. Fuck it. Who cares? This is my tier list. I'll do what I want. Now, after Enigma, I stopped uploading for a whole fucking year, or so you'd think. A lot of people forget about it. I'm not sure why or how. I guess it's because like they're really small, so you wouldn't really, and this is a collab, it wasn't uploaded on my channel, it's uploaded on theirs, but a lot of people like forget about Voyage, which really sucks to me, especially because Voyage was doing like so good when it uploaded. I think it got like 1,000 views in like a week. And for a breakout scenario, that's really fucking good. And I thought like, you know, that would continue. Like Voyage would keep getting views. And, you know, again, it'd be like an actual like well-regarded breakout scenario. But then it just kind of like stagnated at 2,000 views, and I'm pretty sure it hasn't broken that since, which really sucks because I think it's a really good scenario, except I also have a lot of problems with it. None of them have to do with like the actual scenario itself, more so how I treated the scenario, because well, not how I treated, but like how I like when I was working on the scenario. This was like at the time, like again, this was in 2024, so I wasn't really uploading. I thought like I'd have more motivation for it than I did. So I ended up hopping on the project and, you know, writing this, not the whole script, but part of the script, and then doing some screens. And then I just crashed, and then I lost motivation for it. And I just held the project down for like a while. Like, I think we started doing Voyage back in either early August or late July, and that shit didn't come out until October. So I still feel really bad about that. And I also feel like I could, like, again, if I wasn't demotivated for like content in general, I could have done much more with my parts in the scenario, because this scenario has some of my best and sloppiest work. The second screen I made, I still think this is one of, if not my best screens ever. I really like this screen. I think it's a really fucking good screen. Meanwhile, the one before it, I'm not going to say I didn't put effort into it, but I definitely didn't care to like actualize it to the point I wanted to, because it was based off of a real local access screen, and I wanted to sort of encapsulate that in it, but I kind of just like stopped halfway because I just like felt bad about dragging the project out and like bringing the project to a halt. I kind of just wanted to get my parts done, get it over with, and forget about it, because I didn't want to keep bringing the project down. I just wanted to give my stuff and then leave, forget about it, let it be uploaded so that it could, you know, actually finally be uploaded. And so I didn't really like fully bring out my potential for it. Obviously there was, again, that one screen, which I think is my best screen ever, or one of my best screens ever. And then there was that screen, which is hot ass. I can't say the same for everybody else, though. Everybody else snapped, especially with the final dude. That shit, bro. I can't even begin to like glaze that final, like the EAN enough. That segment was fucking peak, dude. Oh my god. They popped off on that. I can't even think of the words I want to glaze it with. It's just, it's really fucking creepy and really fucking good. I think that's just what I want to say about this. It's really creepy, really good, and I wish I did more with it. So, I think I'm gonna put it, I don't know if I want to put it in top of A tier or bottom of S tier. I think, again, with Foreign Invasion in here, it's kind of like, yeah, this is definitely better than Foreign Invasion. Is it better than Enigma? Do I like it more than Enigma? Probably not. And it's not really the scenario's fault. It's my own fault, because I, you know, again, didn't lock in enough for it. And I kind of will always resent myself for that. So, again, it's not really the scenario's fault that it isn't better than Enigma. It's my own fault. So, yeah, I think S tier is where I want to put this. This United States by Saren. I'm actually not sure why he put me as a collaborator on this. And I don't mean that to be mean. Because I'm definitely flattered and I definitely appreciate it. I just don't think I deserve credit for one scene. Because, like, aside from one scene I did for this is entirely Saren. And I feel like he should get the credit for this rather than me. So like all the praises I'm going to sing about it are directed at him. I don't feel like I deserve any of this. Like, I could have just excluded it from like my catalog. But at the same time, people said, oh no, dude, include collabs. So I want to include collabs. This is technically a collab, but I don't think I deserve the right to call it a collab. Like, this is all Saren's stuff. And he did really good on it. So I'm also going to put this in S tier. Above Foreign Invasion. Maybe, do I want to put it above SFS? I would put it above for the story. You know what? Yeah, I'll put it above SFS. Yeah. I think it's better. A better scenario than SFS. And now we get to the final, the last scenario. False Prophet. My most recent, my last scenario to date. Despite what people say, like despite the reaction to it, like top 5 scenarios, probably just gonna have to be top of S tier for me. I don't think it belongs alongside CWWP and Pangea. Maybe Volcanic Winter Remastered shouldn't be here either, but I don't care. I'm gonna be nostalgia blinded by that. I don't care. For False Prophet, the reason I don't think it's double S tier is because again, it's kind of just like testing the waters for like the type of content I want to move towards in the future. It's not like a full not a full dive into it. And like I said in the making of False Prophet, there was a lot of stuff I wanted to do, but I couldn't do because of time constraints. Excuse me, which really sucks, but it's also like my own fault, so I can't really like blame anything else but me for it. But again, you know, it wasn't just like Warden's Wrath. It's perfect. It's like my best scenario visually to date. I still really love the story. I think the story's really good. The voice actors, again, popped off. I loved June's performance. I loved Jelly Pop's performance. I loved everybody there. I loved Dom. I loved Tyrek. I loved everybody there. It's just, again, I don't think I fully actualized it. So I don't think it deserves a spot amongst, you know, the scenarios. I feel like there's not much else I could have done. Like for Civil World War Prelude, I think the only reason I would ever remaster it is to touch up the visuals a little bit, touch up the drawings a little bit, and add those scenes that never made the original cut. That's it. Other than that, there would be... That's why I asked people a while ago whether or not they wanted a CWWP director's cut. Because I'm not going to remaster a remaster. I think the scenario is already perfect. I just want to like add stuff that wasn't in the original that I felt like should have been there. Same with Pangea. There's literally nothing else I could add, nothing I could remaster about it except touching up the visuals a little bit and touching up the drawings. Everything else, like there's nothing I can improve on that. And Volcanic Winter Remastered probably shouldn't be in double S tier, but again, I love it too much to put it lower. So False Prophet probably should be double S. It just has really steep competition. Whoops. So, yeah, that's the full list. Honestly, I'm surprised at how it turned out. I expected it to be really bottom heavy because I don't like, you know, give myself a whole lot of credit. But I think the dispersion is actually pretty even. Like, hold on. Yeah, no, every category except for like double S has the same amount of scenarios in it. That's kind of fucking crazy. Actually, no, D tier doesn't have the same amount. I kind of thought F and D tier were the same. But yeah, like we have a pretty equal dispersion. Like obviously most of my catalog is below A tier, which duh, but like still, I'm kind of like surprised at how things turned out. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it. I think this is the final tier list I want to make. If you want to rank every scenario and collab I've done, again, the link will be in the description and it's on screen. I'd love to see what you guys think of my scenarios and how you'd rank them, how they stack up. And yeah, I think this is what I'm going with. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, YouTuber stuff, leave a like, subscribe, drop a comment, and yeah, please give all these scenarios a watch. Actually, no, not all of them. Fuck. Oh, fuck, what did I do? Oh, nothing. Yeah, please give these scenarios a watch, especially the collabs. I think those deserve a watch more than the actual scenarios. Especially Voyage and Greenland. Those two, I feel like don't get talked a lot enough amongst my catalog. You know, the Foreign Invasion already has a lot of views, and actually, yeah, same with This United States, 'cause I'm pretty sure that video also started stagnating in the algorithm. So please go check those out. Check out anything in S tier and double S tier. A tier, also go check that out, I guess. B tier and below, it's whatever. You can check it out if you want, but you're not really missing much if you don't. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time I upload.